We welcome you to this broadcast of boys varsity basketball on NKTelco Sports. We are at Russia Local Schools where the St. Henry Redskins will take on the Russia Raiders. Tonight's game is brought to you by the following sponsors: Keyhole Pizza, First National Bank, Precision Strip, Emerson Copeland, Carriage Works, Grand Lake Health, Kogi Plumbing and Heating, Lincoln Electric Automation, Minster Bank, Pratt Industries, New Knoxville Supply, Wagner's IGA, Wilson Health, Winners Meats, Jewelry Barn, and NKTelco. Good evening, everyone. I'm Craig Fissinger with my broadcast partner tonight, Brandon Koberman. It's opening weekend of the high school boys basketball season. And while a couple schools from the Midwest Athletic Conference are playing football right now, we've got a MAC versus SCAL battle here at the Claire C. Naveau Gymnasium. Brandon, before we talk about the home team, let's talk about the visitors from St. Henry. This is a Redskins team that opened the season last night on the road, and as I look at their roster, it's also a young team.
Yeah, and taking a look at this, a lot of juniors down here, only one senior. That's Josh Harding's only standing at 6'3", and that's the second tallest player on this St. Henry roster. So not a whole lot of experience for really Coach Rosenbeck's roster, but it's upper classes, so something to work with. A lot of juniors in this lineup for Coach Eric Rosenbeck. Be interested to see how they play. They're usually very up-tempo. They like to shoot the basketball, kind of an opposite from what the Raiders saw last night in Jackson Center, where they like to slow it down, play a slower tempo game. The Redskins lost last night in their opener. They always open with Spencerville, then play the Raiders the second night. They lost to Spencerville last night, 72-66 up over there in Spencerville. So they're trying to right the ship from last night here against the Russia Raiders.
Well, Brandon and I might not be as familiar with this St. Henry roster yet, but we are familiar with that head coach that you mentioned, and Eric Rosenbeck, of course, a Russia alumni. He played for many years here under legendary coach Paul Bremagen, took over that St. Henry program back in 2009, so now in his 14th season, did get to the state semifinals back there in 2019. And again, a lot of familiarity with Coach Rosenbeck, and of course he's familiar with Russia's coach, Spencer Cardonier. Let's transition to the Russia Raiders now, Brandon. They also opened their season last night, and while some programs like to make that first game an easy one, Russia only hosted one of their biggest foes in the SCAL.
Yeah, definitely probably one of the biggest competitors that they'll have for that Shelby County League crown. They eked out a 42-41 victory that you and I called last night. What a great game. The Raiders trailed by 11, showed some perseverance and resilience last night, coming back and winning 42-41. Just performances, that were very good defensively. Offensively, it was a struggle a bit at times. They shot 1 of 10 that third quarter. They got out-rebounded 11-1 that third quarter. So it was a struggle at times, but the Raiders showed grit, and they ended up getting the win, which is the biggest thing. It's a big momentum in league play. But the Raiders have a really good non-conference schedule. You play that double round robin with the Shelby County League, so that gets you 12 good games out there. And they schedule a lot of good MAC opponents, St. Henry being one of them. And St. Henry's always going to give them a good challenge, with their size, their athleticism, how they like to stretch the floor, shoot the three. So it'll be a good test for Coach Spencer Cardonier's team, seeing two completely different styles of basketball here the first weekend. As hearing people talk about it, I'll say we'll find out how good this Raiders team is after 2 games, seeing them against the Tigers and seeing against the Redskins. We'll see how good this Raiders team could possibly be this year, what their ceiling's at already here in late November.
And in case you're wondering what these two teams did last year, it was a rare Monday night game on January 10th, and the Redskins topped the Raiders by the score of 61-50. Earlier tonight in the junior varsity game, Russia topped St. Henry by the score of 57-43. Leading the way for the Raiders was Benjamin York once again, as he did last night. This time Benjamin had 23 points, and assisting him was Jackson Grogine, who had 13 for the Redskins. They were led by Eli Broering with 17 points. Also like to thank our additional sponsors tonight, and that is Burke Petroleum, Chiltex LLC, Cy Sweeterman Inc., Dickman Supply, Hometown Opportunity, Hulsman Automotive, Park National Bank, SecureCom, and St. Henry Bank. And we want to remind our viewers to stick around until the end of the game tonight, when Brandon and I will name our NKTelco player of the game. We'll have all the final stats on our wrap-up before Brandon decides who the top performer of the night was. Brandon and I are going to take a short break now. Tonight, for the national anthem. When we come back, we'll have your starting lineup and keys to the game. St. Henry versus Russia is next on NKTelco Sports.
Hi, I'm Mallory. My grandpa's been making the world's worst pizza for 30 years. That doesn't look like the world's worst pizza. Grandpa, I know why they call you Chunky Bob. It's because you use chunky ingredients on your pizza.
Of course, it's not because I'm fat.
Grandpa, this is the world's best pizza. Keyhole Pizza, come check Grandpa out.
Dine in or carry out.
Together, we are family, working safely for our loved ones.
We are problem solvers who challenge the status quo and drive improvement.
We care about our customer relationships.
We stay true to our values, caring and respecting one another.
We embrace change as we journey through our career.
We are Precision Strip, the world's leading processor of rolled steel and aluminum.
Precision Strip, doing the exceptional.
At Wilson Health, we're extending care beyond the walls of the hospital, with resources designed to keep you in charge of your health.
Our independence and connection to the community are unique in a world where big healthcare strives to act like corporations.
Our tools may be the same, but we are different.
We're neighbors, friends, and family who truly care about the people who live here.
We call it caring without limits, and it's just the beginning of a whole new Wilson Health.
And the starting lineups again for the Redskins. They are Caden Bergman, Evan Bowers, Logan Link, Luke Bikey, and John Hardings. For the Raiders, Zane Shappy, Hayden Quinter, Braden Monin, Braylon Cordonier, and Xavier Flippo. Now it's time for our Keyhole Pizza keys to the game. What do you got, Brandon?
Thanks, Craig. And first, looking for the St. Henry Redskins, it's really controlling the pace, getting their nerves, under wrap. Rebounding here, a little undersized here tonight. And also controlling the tempo for the Raiders. It's guarding the three, good closeouts, good boxing out on, especially on those long rebounds, and control the pace of the game.
Getting ready to jump at center circle is Luke Bikey for the Redskins and Hayden Quinter for the Raiders, and that tip is controlled by the Raiders. So Zane Shappy, the senior, will get things started as he gets it out to Cordonier and Quinter in the corner. Rushi rotating the ball around the perimeter, playing this 4 out with Flippo down there on the block, and some pressure defense right away from the St. Henry Redskins. Are playing, a 3-2 here?
Yeah, and they're really crashing the block hard, and the Raiders get a field goal out of it.
So Braylon Cordonier, who had 6 points last night, gets the scoring started out with a bucket. And the Redskins now with the ball, working on the block against Cordonier is Bikey. Bikey had a double-double last night, and his shot goes off the rim, but nice rebound there by Bowers. Actually, Bowers had the double-double. And a long shot from Link is no good. It's going to stay in control of the Redskins. Yeah, Evan Bowers last night with 24 points and 11 rebounds in that 72-66 loss to Spencerville. Other guy in double figures was Luke Bikey with 23 points. Kind of a two-headed monster here for St. Henry.
Yeah, and that was who their lead is. And they're going to find out who their leaders are, graduating a lot of seniors off last year's team for Coach Eric Rosenbeck.
Logan Link with the ball, working against Braden Monin. Dribbles around, passes it off to Bergman. Bergman looking for some help, finally gets to Hardings. Hardings being double-teamed by a couple Raiders, and Shappy and Quinter, and that ball's knocked out of bounds, but St. Henry once again will keep it.
Yeah, the Raiders get the trap there. Hardings, again, like I said, that lone senior for St. Henry.
And this roster, just the one senior, 10 juniors, and 1 sophomore. And St. Henry with a little trouble getting that ball in bounds as Monin knocks it out of bounds, so the full length of the court to go for the Redskins.
I don't like that pass forcing it towards the Raider basket either. Try to cut and make a move to get open. For St. Henry.
Bowers with the ball. He'll be guarded full court here by Flippo. Shappy thought about trying to trap him. Bowers having trouble getting across the timeline. Finally does. Gets it into Bergman. Bergman in the lane is going to put a shot up. That one's too short. Rebound by Braylon Cordonier.
And it's the same trap that the Raiders employed last night on the Jackson Center Tigers early in the first half. It worked to some success there, and worked to success early here.
And Quinter drives the lane, can't get his shot to go down, but Ruschi with the ball has Shappy on top once again. St. Henry back in that 3-2 zone. In the lane now to Cordania where he scored earlier. This time his shot is blocked.
Nice defense there by St. Henry, getting a hand up in those soft parts of the zone.
Hardings turns the ball over trying to get it to Bowers. Ruschi with the ball once again, and Link with almost a steal. He throws it. They do get that Raider to turn over the ball.
It's kind of a wild sequence there.
2-0 here at the 6-minute mark as Link goes up, Hardings, he gets fouled and he will head to the line for 2.
And that's how the St. Henry attack is going to be. It's going to be go, go, go. Just kind of trying to wear you out, shoot a lot, and make you try to cover every square inch of this floor.
That foul will go on Hayden Quinter as the 6'3 senior John Harding steps to the line. As Brandon said, the only senior on this roster. And he gets that first one to roll across the front of the rim and in. Quick substitution as Devin Delzeith will come in. He is replacing Caden Bergman, who heads to the bench. Delzeith, a 5'11 junior. And second shot by Hardings is no good, so he splits the pair. Ruschi with the 2-1 lead at the 5:53 mark.
St. Henry staying back in that zone. It is a 3-2.
Ruschi rotating the ball around the perimeter. Down low on the block with it is Cordania. And boy, once he gets the ball down there, he gets double teamed by the Redskins.
Yeah, they're committed to crashing that block as soon as it goes inside. So that means the Raiders, the post, have got to be quick. If it's not there right away to play a little inside out, you're going to get some wide open shots on the perimeter if you're Ruschi. And there in the corner, Monen's wide open. You might see that thrown to here another time if they play zone out of bounds.
Cordania making a couple moves in the lane, finally kicks it out to Flippo. Flippo with 11 points, tied for the lead with Quinter last night in that win against Jackson Center. And 3 on the way from Mon, and that rattles out no good. Rebound though, Flippo. Nice job there by the senior. Quinter in the lane, dishes it off to Mon, and he's trying to come up with something here and smartly kicks it out. And this time Cordania's going to drive, and he's going to get they're going to call a jump ball.
Yep, and it's going to be a Raider turnover. Great defense by St. Henry. Raiders getting open looks, but just not getting them to fall yet.
Entering the game for Bowers will be number 22, Nick Berkey, a 6'2 junior. Nick Berkey, the twin of Chris Berkey, who's on the bench right now. So Ruschi with a 2-1 lead at the 5:16 mark. St. Henry with the ball. Link gets it up to Delzeith. He's getting harassed by Flippo and creates a turnover by the Redskins as Shappy throws it up and in. Zane Shappy with a crazy shot, gets it to go in. He'll head to the line for a free throw.
And a great job by Shappy to run that break. You tell you when you run the break, you get out wide and then close in and make it a nice easy layup, and Shappy did that right there, and we'll have the free throw as well.
Zane Shappy's got to be happy to get that field goal. He was held field goal less last night, had 2 free throws for 2 points, but his first field goal of his senior year of the season, and he converts the old-fashioned three-point play to put the Raiders up by 4, 5-1. Substitution now as Felix Francis will come into the game. Xavier Flippo heads to the bench. Felix Francis, the tallest player in this game at 6'5". He's just a junior.
He's grown a lot over the summer too. You saw him last year. He's probably listed at 6'1", 6'2". He added a few inches over the summer, hit that growth spurt, and it's now at 6'5".
Got his first real varsity action last night against Jackson Center. Didn't score at all, but has looked awful good in the preseason. We expect a lot out of him this season.
Henry really struggling to set up an offense here early on.
Hayden Beckman, number 10 now in the ball game for St. Henry. He's a 5'10 junior, and on the block with his Berkey. His shot's up, no good. He'll get fouled, though, ahead to the free throw line.
Nice job by Berkey, too. He's staying disciplined there. As soon as Cordania went up, he invited that contact and drew the foul.
Nick Berkey did have 2 points in that game last night against Spencerville. Coach Rosenbeck yelling instructions out to his team. Again, Coach Rosenbeck, a former star here at Ruschi, as well as Ruschi's coach, Spencer Cordania.
Yeah, like I said, Ruschi's kind of the cradle of coaches there for a while.
Substitution for the Raiders now as Colby Monin, a 6'3 senior, will come in the game. Heading to the bench will be sophomore Braylon Cordania. Monin got some decent minutes last night in the Jackson Center game. Didn't get in the scorebook, but did help out in that win. So Nick Berkey's second shot is on the way off the back of the rim too hard, and St. Henry comes up empty at the free throw line. Raiders still lead by 4, 5-1.
That's a 3-2 zone pressure, half-court zone pressure there from St. Henry. Now they drop back in that zone.
Shappy with the ball, working against Delzeith.
Now it looks like they're playing man-to-man.
Coach Cardogna wants Russia to attack here as Monty kicks it back out to Shappy. Shappy setting things up again for the Raiders at center circle. Russia being awful patient here with the ball. Under 4 minutes now here in this first quarter. On the block to Monin, kicks it on out to Monin. Two Monins in, Colby Monin with the ball, and Braden Monin out behind the arc, and he gets it stolen by Logan Link. Link now with the ball. Up the floor, gets it to Beckman. Beckman going to drive in the lane, put the jumper up, and he's going to get fouled, so he'll head to the free throw line.
Colby Monin there. Like I said, St. Henry's committed to crashing hard on that block. You got to get that ball. You got to pass it out. You can't sit there and dribble, pound that ball in the ground. You either got to go right away or kick it out.
For the third team foul on Russia versus just 2 for St. Henry. And the lefty Beckman puts the first one up and knocks it down. So substitutions for both teams in the game for Russia. Vince Borchers, who had a very good game last night with 6 points. Also in Ross Fissinger. Fissinger with a 3-pointer last night. Second shot on the way by Beckman is no good, so Beckman splits the pair. Just 2 free throws so far for St. Henry. They trail by 3. And Russia will inbound it from the side there in front of the blue and gold fans. Francis inbounds it to Borchers. Borchers running that point guard in place of Zane Shappy. You'll see those two switch off through the night. Fissinger gets it down low to Colby Monin. Monin looking for someone. Fissinger now getting trapped by a couple of Redskins. And Monin's going to put it up off the glass. That's no good. Bowers with the rebound for St. Henry. Monin just couldn't get that one to go down.
Yeah, and I like that move by Monin to go quickly. But here's the Redskins in transition. Hit a 3.
Evan Bowers with a deep 3. Finally gets a field goal for the Redskins, and it's a good one from behind the arc. They tie this ball game up now at 5-5.
Yeah, huge 3 there from Bowers to stretch the floor, and it takes about 5 minutes to get that field goal. Has to be a little relief there for Coach Rosenbeck.
Hayden Beckman, did he pick up that foul? That was actually.
Let's see who was.
Yeah, that was on Hayden Beckman for the foul. So they have 3 team fouls, just like Russia. Russia, the length of floor to go. Looks like St. Henry's going to apply a little pressure, and knocking it out of bounds will be Curtis Putoff, who's now in the game. Curtis Putoff, a 5'10 junior, and entering the game for the first time will be Chris Berkey. He will replace his brother Nick Berkey, who will head to the bench.
And Curtis Putoff, a quarterback of that football team for St. Henry this year.
Cardogna gets it into Braden Monin. Monin working up against Beckman, gets across the timeline, driving in the lane, finds Francis down low. Francis is going to get fouled. Looks like that is going to go against Caden Bergman.
Great job by running the break. Maybe if Monin would have dished that off a little sooner, it could have got the shot to go, but nonetheless, it's 2 foul shots here for Felix Francis, looking for his first points of the year.
6'5 junior, first shot is on the way, and that one's good. So Felix Francis in the scorebook for the first time this season, as you just said, Brandon. Russia taking a 1-point lead. Second one on the way from Francis. That one's good as well. So Raiders up 2 in this Saturday night matchup between the Redskins and the Raiders. Been a long-standing tradition here to play this game, and shot up by Putoff is no good. And out in front here is Monin. He's going to go up against Bowers, and that's too short. Francis tries to get the stick back, and he's going to get fouled and head back to that free throw line.
And the Raiders has got to try to finish off that fast break there, getting a little too antsy there. Haven't been able to finish on the offensive end.
Yeah, Monin had a one-on-one against Bowers there. Maybe a little bit too careful. If he'd have went up strong, perhaps would have got the bucket or the foul from Bowers.
You can't, you can anticipate contact. The thing is you got to drive through that contact, as Francis cans the free throw there, but you got to drive through that contact and draw it. Don't anticipate it, and then that's going to be more likely that it's going to be a block.
That shot, or that foul on Francis was on Chris Berkey. That was the 5th team foul on the Redskins, and Francis a perfect 4 for 4 from the free throw line. Nice job by him as Flippo will come back into the game. Braden Mana will head to the bench. Russia with a 4-point lead here. 2:44 left to go here in the first. Our scoreboard sponsored by First National Bank, and our Russia game sponsor there you see on your screen is Jewelry Barn. And wrestling for the ball was Cordonier and Bowers. St. Henry now with the ball, kicking it out. Bowers on the top of the key. He tried one from up there earlier and nailed it. This time playing some tight defense was Flippo. Flippo now with the ball going against Bowers. He's going to put it off the glass, and a nice job by Xavier Flippo to get that bucket.
And Xavier, our player of the game, but that was created by Felix Francis diving on the floor for that ball, helping force that turnover there. The Raiders getting great pressure in the half court.
Vince Borchers with a steal, gets it to Flippo. He's going to go up again off the glass. That's no good, but stick back by Felix Francis. And for a guy that didn't score last night, he's got 6 points in the quarter.
And that's a nice follow. That's why they always say to follow the shot. Francis, right place, right time, has got 6 points now.
Down low with it is Bowers. He gets position on Cordonier, and he's going to get fouled and head to the line.
I think Felix Francis is feeling a little bit of a high there. He tried to hop up and smack that ball down. Couldn't quite do it there, but Bowers will go to the line for 2.
Evan Bowers, again, the 6'2 junior with a double-double last night of 24 points and 11 rebounds. Hit that 3 a little earlier, and lots of subs getting ready to check in here at the scorers table. He hits the first one. Checking in will be Bikey, Logan Link, and Hardings, John Hardings, the senior.
It seems like Coach Rosenbeck going about 9 deep in this bench so far, and it's actually about 10 deep, actually.
One thing we know about Coach Rosenbeck, he does like to sub, and he does like to shoot the 3, as Bowers hits both of those, so he has 5 points to lead the Redskins. Some pressure from St. Henry as Rucci tries to bring the ball up. Borchers with it. Nice job splitting up those St. Henry defenders, and he throws the ball away. Link now with the ball getting swatted around. Rucci comes up with his he gets tied up with Hardings, and we're going to get a jump ball.
Yeah, it was the right idea there by Borchers. Just hit off the leg of a St. Henry defender. I believe it was Lynx, and didn't work as Zane Chappie going to come back in the lineup.
Heading to the bench will be Fissinger.
As the Raiders have it right out in front of the St. Henry bench.
So Vince Borchers, the sophomore, will run the offense as Chappie, the normal starting point guard, is playing at the wing. Cordonier kicks it out to Chappie on top to Borchers.
We call 3 seconds in the lane on Braylon Cordonier.
Cordonier spending too much time in that lane, so that is a turnover for the Raiders.
Each team's got 5 of them in the first quarter.
Inbounding in front of Coach Rosenbeck's bench will be Caden Bergman. Gets it into Bowers. Bowers double teamed by a couple Raiders, gets it back to Bergman. Bergman tries to drive, gets it on top, they rotate it well. Bikey with the ball now on the baseline, Harding's on the baseline with it. Bowers is going to take another 3. That one goes out, no good. Bikey reaches over the back of Felix Francis, and the 6'4 junior goes over the back of the 6'5 junior and commits the foul.
Yeah, the Redskins only gotten, for a team that likes to shoot a lot, they've only gotten 6 field goals off this quarter. And compared to the Raiders, 9.
Vikey's going to head to the bench, and Nick Berkey coming back into the ball game for St. Henry as Felix Francis inbounds it to Vince Borchers, gets it out to Chappie. St. Henry still applying that full court pressure as Borchers going to get stuck here he gets it out, gets it over to Cordonier. Nice job by the Raiders there of avoiding those traps. Flippo with it in the corner, gets it down low to Francis. He puts it off the glass, that's no good. And looks like that call going to go on Cordonier on the foul?
I think so. No, they're going to say it's against St. Henry. They say they pushed Cordonier out of position.
I was going to say Cordonier ended up into the Russia mat there behind the basket. So 16 foul for the Redskins, and a substitution now as Braden Monin comes in for Vince Borchers.
And Felix Francis caught that ball in the block, and he just kind of threw it up. He really didn't take a dribble and power and go up. He just went up with it. It was a good feed from Flippo with the momentum of how the play was going, but it's kind of a quick shot there by Francis.
Well, they're discussing it here right now, and not sure what. It's not the one. It's the 1-on-1.
Yeah. Bergman's going to head out. Yeah, they're going to check with the scores book.
So Caden Bergman with two personal fouls. He'll head to the bench, and to the line will be Xavier Flippo. And I thought the foul was actually on Braylon Cordonier. Braylon was the one that got fouled, but Flippo to the line. This first one is good. Xavier Flippo, a very good free throw shooter. As a matter of fact, he was third on the team last year at 79%. Monin back in the game for Cordonier. Xavier 46 for 58 last year from the free throw line. Flippo didn't have any free throws last night. So Flippo will see if he can convert both of these. And he does, as he now has 4 in the quarter, and Russia now with a 15-7 lead, under a minute to go here in the first quarter. Del Zeith with the ball. He's working against Shappy. And Shappy's going to knock that one out. Nice job there. He's going to get it back for the layup, and off the glass, Zane Shappy creates the turnover and gets the bucket.
And it's that tip from behind. Shappy was hanging right behind him, and I believe Harding stepped over to the line there, and that's going to be another St. Henry turnover, their 7th of the quarter. But what Shappy did is he gets a tip from behind, doesn't see it come up from behind. That ball jolts up, and it falls into a Raider hand. Fortunately for them, they get a fast break bucket out of it.
Quick substitution by Cordonier Spencer Cordonier as he brings Braylon Cordonier, and he now has the ball, going to go up the glass, and Russia having about as good a quarter as you can have as Braylon Cordonier gets his second field goal to take a 19-7 lead.
Yeah, it was kind of an offensive struggle to start for the Raiders, but once they've gotten going, they've really fired on all cylinders now with 19 points.
Russia only able to score 9 points last night in the first quarter. They now have 19 as Felix Francis almost gets that steal.
They had 18 points the whole first half last night. So they've actually exceeded their total from the first half last night already here in under a quarter.
A little offense-defense substitution as Coach Cordonier brings Colby Monin back in the game and Braylon Cordonier to the bench. So with 8 seconds to go, St. Henry now has the ball. Logan Link with it being guarded by Braden Monin. Gets it down low to Berkey. Berkey working against Monin. And he's trying to put the ball up, and we're going to get a foul before the buzzer.
Yeah, and I believe that Berkey's going to shoot too.
So Nick Berkey heading to the line with zeros on the clock. The rest of the team will go to their benches, and Nick Berkey will be all alone there at the free throw line. Try to get this Raider lead back down to 10. No, they're going to send Nick Berkey to the bench. They're going to say that was after the buzzer, I think.
Yep.
So after 1 quarter of play, Russia leads St. Henry 19-7. We'll take a break and be back in a moment. You're listening to high school basketball here on NKTelco Sports.
CarriageWorks has expanded and now can hold up to 25 cars in our service bay. CarriageWorks thrives on customer satisfaction. We accomplish that by providing top-of-the-line technology. CarriageWorks now uses a laser beam system to measure down to the millimeter of factory specs to better service you and get you back on the road. CarriageWorks has a brand new top-of-the-line paint booth that uses waterborne paint. There's no job too big or too small for CarriageWorks. We're certified collision specialists. Come in and see us today.
Kemmler Orthopedic Center is focused on a personalized, caring approach to treat all aspects of orthopedics, including total joint replacement, shoulder reconstruction, stem cell injections, and more. Dr. James Kemmler and Jed Cooney, certified PA, are dedicated to providing the best orthopedic care in the Grand Lake region. Kemmler Orthopedic Center has offices located in Salina and Van Wert, along with extended evening hours. To schedule an appointment, call our office at 419-586-5760.
So the score is Russia 19, St. Henry 7 on our First National Bank scoreboard. And Brandon, before the game tonight, we were talking off the air about the fact that Zane Shappy and Felix Francis were very quiet last night, and here they come out and make a lot of noise.
Yeah, they both had great quarters. Zane Shappy with 5 points that quarter, and Felix Francis with 6. So they did a nice job. Again, this Raiders team is deep, and they had a nice first quarter, 19-7. Outscoring the Redskins that quarter. A great start for the Raiders. You got to keep the pedal down for St. Henry. Just got to get some flow offensively and some consistency. I think that's what they're lacking here in the early going.
Other scores for Russia were Braylon Cordonier with 4 and Xavier Flippo with 4. And for the St. Henry Redskins, Evan Bowers, the only field goal for the Redskins with that three-pointer. He had 5 in the quarter. And Bowers' shot to start out the second quarter is no good. Russia now with the ball. The other 2 points from St. Henry in that first quarter came from Hayden Beckman with a free throw and John Hardings with a free throw. And Rucci's going to turn the ball over. And quick substitutions here for St. Henry.
Yeah, and Raiders with 6 turnovers now. So they have 5 in the first quarter. That puts you on pace for about 20 turnovers a game. It was slightly less than ideal.
And the ball game for St. Henry is Curtis Putoff and Hayden Beckman. They come in on that dead ball. Logan Link working against Braden Monin, and Rucci going to trap here with Shappy coming in to help. Beckman now with the ball in the paint, kicks it out to Putoff. On the block, now Bikey, and Bikey trying to get it to Putoff. Ball knocked around. Turnover Redskins, Quinter with it. Gets it out to Flippo. Flippo throws up a crazy shot. That's no good. Curtis Putoff with it, gets it down quickly to Bikey. Bikey working against Quinter in the lane, puts it up. Ball's going to roll around, no good, but Hayden Quinter's going to pick up the foul, and Bikey's going to head to the line.
Nice move by Bikey there to draw contact. But Flippo there, I think the reason the shot was so wild is because he tried to anticipate that contact again, but from Bowers from behind. So he thought he was going to get hammered and fouled, and Bowers, did a nice job to stay out of the way.
Well, they're going to call that foul, looks like, on Zane Shappy, and so that's going to be his first. I missed that one. Substitution as Braylon Cordonier comes in for Xavier Flippo. Bikey hits the shot, the first free throw. He had 23 points last night, was held scoreless in that first quarter, so he's finally in the scorebook for the Redskins. And a second one's on the way, and he's going to nail that as well. The 6'4 junior with 2 points and trims that Rucci lead down to 10.
6 of the 9 points for St. Henry's come from the foul line. So they're 6 of 10 from the free throw line. The Raiders hit the scores table there.
Now Francis trying to get it over to Braden Mon and throws it into that scores table. And certainly don't want to hit our Rucci scorebook man, and that's Doug Borchers. Down there on the book, been doing that for a lot of years.
Yes, he has. Both girls and boys at times.
Coach Rosenbeck shouting instructions to the Redskins. They trail by 10 points here in the second quarter on this MAC versus SCAL showdown. Beckman trying to get it low to Bowers, and he's going to throw it away.
9th turnover for the Redskins on the night. Raiders get to score here in the second quarter.
Rucci with the ball quickly down the floor. Felix Francis with it now. He does a nice spin move on the block against Bikey. Decides to kick it out to Cordonier. He's going to shoot the three. That looked good from here, and it is. Braylon Cordonier hits a three-pointer for Rucci. They take a 22-9 lead.
Their first three-point field goal as a team here tonight comes early in the second quarter.
And a three by St. Henry from Bikey is no good. Bowers cleans it up, though. Gets the stick back.
Bowers just right place, right time, and gets the stick back there for St. Henry.
Bowers with 7 points now for the Redskins. Rucci with the ball. Rucci hit 4 threes last night, just one in the first half by Hayden Quinter, then got 3 in that big fourth quarter. Cordonier's going to take another one. That's off the front of the rim, the back of the rim, and no good. Ball knocked around. Logan Link ends up with it. Beckman going to drive in the lane. He's all alone. The left-handed layup. He misses that one. Just too hard off the glass. That was too easy.
Yeah, and just wide open. I think he didn't have his footing there was the problem. And that's why he didn't come down with the Raiders. Just kind of slowing things down here. It's been a little crazy this last minute.
And Link almost with a steal as Quinter now has it on the baseline to Cordonier, and he throws it right to Link. Link getting into passing lanes all over the place. His shot's no good. Ball knocked around. Rucci possession here, and substitutions now as Caden Bergman back in the ball game for St. Henry. For Rucci, Vince Borchers and Ross Fissinger, as Shappy and Francis are going to head to the bench. Also coming in will be John Hardings, the lone senior for St. Henry, and heading to the bench will be Caden Bergman.
Now Redskins going to pull a trap here. They've mixed up defenses, so the Raiders have seen a lot of different defenses here early on. Zone, man, they've seen press. They've seen a whole lot of different things.
Yeah, these Redskins applying pressure pretty much this whole half so far in the full court and the half court. Rucci so far done good handling that pressure. Up 11 points at the 5:19 mark. Rucci across the half court. Flippo with it now, working in the lane. Kicks it out to Fissinger, quickly to Borchers. Borchers drives in the lane, throws up a shot that's blocked by Bikey. He tried to underhand scoop that from that right block. Bowers with it now on top to Link. Link gets it over to Hardings. Hardings going to try to drive around Quinter in the lane, puts a shot up, and that rattles out, no good. Well, that rim seems like they got a lid on it for St. Henry. A lot of shots that are in and out.
Yeah, it's a little bit of tough shooting. They have had shots that have rattled in and out. We got a timeout.
A precision strip timeout. We'll take it with them. Russia leads St. Henry 22-11 on NKTelco Sports. We want to remind our viewers that NKTelco Sports and its sponsors are pleased to bring you replays of tonight's high school varsity basketball action on NKTelco Channel 3 or in HD on Channel 503. Replays of this game will be on Sunday, December 4th at 3 p.m. and Monday, December 5th at 9 p.m. You can also watch more games on demand through YouTube, Facebook, and at nktelco.com/sports. And Kobe, we're awful lucky to have the stats and film team from St. Henry up here tonight.
Yeah, they got a printer up here. Reminds me of an old Russia legend, Matt Zerker, that used to be up here, that used to, roam these halls here, and has a press box now named after him. That happened last summer, so kind of reminds me of Matt's stats. A good friend of ours here at on NKTelco and on Fish Report in those days. So. It kind of reminds me of that. It's a little sentimental.
They're taking care of us, that's for sure. Russia gets the ball in bounds. Borcher's with it now. Kicks it on out to Flippo in the corner to Fissinger. He's going to try to drive around Bowers. No, he gets it over to Flippo on top to Quinter. Vince Borcher's now at the ball, being guarded by Caden Bergman. 4:34 left to go here in the half. Russia up 22-11.
They're just being patient here.
Fissinger drives, he gets the ball knocked out, but Quinter's going to take the three. That's off the front of the rim, no good, and rebound Bowers. St. Henry running that 3-2 zone. Russia had success with it in the first quarter. A little trouble with it on that possession. Harding's with the ball, working against Flippo. Drives into the lane, kicks it on out. Long three on the way. That's off the front of the rim. No good by Bergman. And tie-up Bowers going to go off his leg out of bounds. Russia ball.
Yep, tough possession there. Iron has been unkind so far to St. Henry. A lot of good looks. That was a great look by Bergman. Heck, if you just hit two of them, you're within 5 points. So sometimes the shots just don't fall your way. And it's been a tough first half shooting here for St. Henry.
In the ball game for the Redskins, Curtis Putoff comes in, as well as Nick Berkey and Chris Berkey on the floor for the Raiders. Now Felix Francis, Braylon Cardiner, Zane Shappy, Hayden Quinter, and Ross Fissinger, and the Raiders turn it over.
Yeah, I try to get a little too, try to go a little too quickly there.
Chris Harding with the ball, trying to get it down low. He turns it over. Zane Shappy with the ball now. He's driving, pulls up, gets it down low to Quinter. Quinter, nice reverse. That gets blocked by Bikey. Stick back by Francis is good. And Felix Francis, who had a great first quarter, gets two here in the second.
Felix, right place, right time. And now with 8 points, with 3:27 to go here in the half.
Curtis Putoff with it, gets it over to Nick Berkey. Bikey now with the ball at the half court, being guarded by Fissinger. Kicks it on out in the corner to Berkey, back to Bikey.
And it's going to be a foul on number two, on one of the Berkeys. They're identical twins, but that was Nick Berkey. He kind of boxed out a player there. That's we put it as an illegal screen.
Well, between two Berkeys, a Bikey, and a Bergman,
B's.
That's a mouthful.
And you're announcing it with Brandon, so there's a lot of B's.
Braylon Cordonier gets it into Zane Shappy. Russia up by 13 points here with 3 minutes left to go in this first half. Braden Monon with it, gets it to Cordonier, over to Shappy. Shappy going to try to drive baseline, decides to bring it on back out. Gets it over to Fissinger. Fissinger's going to take the three, and that's off the rim, no good. Rebound there, Curtis Putoff.
Yeah, it's a good open shot for Fissinger. Not gonna be mad if he takes that shot.
That's going to go off Zane Shappy's hands and out of bounds, so Russia able to trap St. Henry at the half court just where they wanted him. And as they threw the ball away, Shappy got a hand on it and couldn't get it. We're going to get a precision strip timeout, and it's a full timeout. We'll take it with them. Again, Russia leading St. Henry 24-11 here on NKTelco Sports.
We are here, and here, and here. Minster Bank is everywhere, providing every banking service that you need to keep your financial life in order. Whether you are on the go or stopping by one of our branches, Minster Bank is here for you. We proudly support the communities where you live. Minster Bank, helping people achieve financial success.
Unpack your potential with a career at Pratt Industries. Working at Pratt Industries is more than a job. It's a sustainable career.
Pratt Industries to me is a job. It's my career. It's the way I put food on my table, but I love what I do.
We offer competitive pay, excellent benefits, and opportunities for career advancement. To apply, visit careers.prattindustries.com.
The Russia leads St. Henry 24-11 here on NKTelco Sports. And we'd like to remind our viewers that our scoreboard is sponsored tonight by First National Bank. Our timeouts coming courtesy of Precision Strip. You heard earlier the keys to the game by Keyhole Pizza. Starting lineups were sponsored by Emerson Copeland. Our Russia live viewer sponsor is Jewelry Barn. And at the end of the game, Kobe and I will have your NKTelco player of the game.
Yeah, and this quarter, interesting, it just hasn't had much flow. After one quarter, it was 19-7. And now it's 5-4 advantage of the Raiders. No flow really offensively for either side. The Raiders had a real good quarter offensively the first quarter.
And a nice backdoor pass there from Luke Bikey to Caden Bergman. Bergman can't get the shot to go down, but he's going to head to the free throw line for 2.
They set more of their points. 6 of their 11 points have come from the charity stripe. They haven't really hit any field goals.
That's going to be the second personal foul on Zane Shappy, as the first one from Bergman is good. And coming into the ball game now will be Vince Borchers, as Shappy does head to the bench. Also coming in for St. Henry will be Logan Link. He's going to replace Nick Berkey. So Caden Bergman with one more attempt from the charity stripe. Also Russia bringing in Hayden Quinter, as Fissinger will head to the bench. So several substitutions here at the 2:38 mark in this second quarter.
The Raiders very deep this year, can go in a lot of ways.
Bergman's second one is good. He didn't have any points last night in that game against Spencerville, so Caden Bergman in the scorebook for the first time this season. At full court press once again from the Redskins. And Cordonier down low on the block. He's going to put it up. That's going to roll around no good, as Monon's going to throw it off Bowers out of bounds. So Russia's going to inbound it underneath their own basket.
In first year, just want to run a good set play out of bounds, try to get something free and easy, hopefully, here if you can execute right.
Quinter inbounds. It gets the lob inside to Cordonier. Cordonier working against Bowers, gets it out to Quinter. Quinter thinks about the three, goes up to the free throw line and buries the 15-foot jumper. Hayden Quinter, who was scoreless in the first quarter, now has 2. Quinter had 11 last night to tie for the team lead with Flippo.
A nice shot there, a nice free, easy jump shot there with nobody in his face.
And a steal from Vince Borchers. He's going up against Bergman. The left-handed layup from Vince Borchers is good. So Russia now takes a 28-13 lead.
Get a little bit of momentum, a little bit of a good fast break there off a turnover.
Russia now with 6 different scores, as Bowers going to put it up from the right side. A nice job there by Evan Bowers, who's basically been doing all the scoring here for St. Henry, the only player with any field goals.
Yeah, he's just 10 of those 15 points. It's been Bowers or free throws. It's pretty much been no other option. I don't think anybody else has a field goal other than Bowers.
Now 2 free throws from Bikey, 1 from Beckman and 1 from Hardings, and 2 as well from Caden Bergman that you just saw. So yeah, Bikey, the main scorer for the Redskins, as Felix Francis continues to do it. And after being held scoreless last night, he now has 8. He got more than 8 points.
Yeah, I think he's got 10. Yep, they just changed it.
10 points for Francis, some kind of half for the junior. Down low, Bikey, he's going to put up a nice turnaround hook. That's no good, though, and rebound, Vince Borchers. Raiders up the floor, under a minute to play here in this first half. They got a 30-15 lead. Three-pointer from Monon is too strong. Rebound, Bikey, and Francis got caught reaching on that one. So we're going to march back down to the other end of the floor for the 1-and-1.
I love that play by Borchers. He just dribbled. He knew it felt like he was going to give it to Monon the whole time. Give him a nice clean pass, just missed the open look.
Substitutions for St. Henry as Devin Delzeith comes back into the game, as does Hayden Beckman. Luke Bikey at the free throw line for a 1-and-1. He's got 2 free throws earlier in this quarter after scoring 23 last night against Spencerville. He buries that next one. 3 for 3 at the line for Luke Bikey. Bikey's second one is good as well. And a quick substitution now as John Hardings will replace Luke Bikey. Colby Monin back in for Russia on the floor, along with Felix Francis, Vince Borchers, Xavier Flippo, and Braden Monin. Borchers gets it to Flippo, to Monin, trying to break this St. Henry press. And they finally get it across with 2 seconds to go for a 10-second violation. 34 seconds on the clock. Monin gets it on top to Flippo, and Borchers looks to Coach Cordonier for instructions. Monin now with it, 23 seconds here. Kicks it out to Borchers. Borchers on the elbow, gets it out to Flippo. Flippo being guarded there by Hardings. Hands it off to Monin. Monin at the free throw line, spin move in the lane, gets stopped. Kicks one out to Borchers. Under 10 seconds to go now. Borchers pulls it out. Russia going to take the last shot of the half, it looks like. And Borchers loses control, turns it over to the Redskins with 1 second. Bowers is going to let it go. It's good if it goes, and it's not. So after one half of play, Russia leads St. Henry 30-17. Kobe and I will be back in a few minutes with our halftime report. You're listening to high school basketball here on NKTelco Sports.
Are you looking for a rewarding career? Lincoln Electric Automation in Coldwater and Fort Loramie supplies top-of-the-line automation systems to manufacturers. Lincoln Electric Automation routinely develops its team through hiring and by offering advanced technical training. We understand that every employee matters, and every role contributes to the success of our business. We offer advancement opportunities, competitive wages, and benefit packages. Visit LincolnElectric.com and get on track to a better career and a better future.
New Knoxville Supply Company, the supply source for residential, commercial, and industrial jobs. We specialize in plumbing products from many name brands, electrical products from replacing a light switch to rewiring an entire house, heating, air conditioning, and geothermal products, sheet metal ductwork, installations, and service. We are now housing more inventory, so all the hardware items you need to complete the job are available right away. New Knoxville Supply. Stop in, call, or check us out online at newknoxvillesupply.com.
Whether you do business from a corner store or a corner office, there is one asset your business cannot do without: the internet. Everything from sales and marketing, training and shipping, PR, HR, and R&D, your business relies on a fast, reliable, and secure connection. And now, it's more important than ever to partner with an internet provider you can trust. Get Flight Fiber for Business, backed by local tech support from NKTelco. Call today.
Hi, I'm Mallory. My grandpa's been making the world's worst pizza for 30 years. That doesn't look like the world's worst pizza. Grandpa, I know why they call you Chunky Bob. It's because you use chunky ingredients on your pizza.
Of course, it's not because I'm fat.
Grandpa, this is the world's best pizza. Keyhole Pizza, come check Grandpa out.
Dine in or carry out.
Now we're here at halftime at the Claire C. Naveau Gymnasium, where the Russia Raiders are leading the St. Henry Redskins 30-17 here on NKTelco Sports. I'd like to thank our sponsors that make this game possible to bring it to you, and that is Keyhole Pizza, First National Bank, Precision Strip, Emerson Copeland, Carriage Works, Grand Lake Health, Kogi Plumbing and Heating, Lincoln Electric Automation, Minster Bank, Pratt Industries, New Knoxville Supply, Wagner's IGA, Wilson Health, Winners Meats, Jewelry Barn, and NKTelco. A little earlier in the night, we had a freshman game, and in that one, St. Henry won by the score of 55-53. And then in the junior varsity game, Russia won 57-43. Leading the way for the Raiders in that JV game was Benjamin York, who had 23 points, and Jackson Grogine with 13. For the Redskins, it was Eli Broering with 17 points. So we're going to talk about this first half of play here between the Raiders and the Redskins. And both these teams coming off games from last night. Russia with a 42-41 win versus Jackson Center. And for the St. Henry Redskins, they had a loss against Spencerville by the score of 72-66. And I'm going to bring in my broadcast partner now, Brandon Koberman. Brandon, this first half of play was a lot different than last night, what we saw against Jackson Center, for the Raiders at least.
Yeah, you see the Raiders have scored through 2 quarters more than what they scored through 3 quarters last night. Taking a look at the first half stats, St. Henry was 3 of 16 from the field, 1 of 6 from 3, 10 of 14 from the free throw line, 12 rebounds, and Russia was 11 of 23, shooting 1 of 6 from 3, 7 of 7 from the charity stripe, 16 rebounds for the Raiders. The scoring in that half for St. Henry, 9 points for Evan Bowers, 4 for Luke Bikey, 2 for Caden Bergman, 1 for Hayden Beckman, and 1 for John Harding. So the Raiders, Felix Francis with 10, Braylon Cardania with 7, Zane Chappie with 5, and Xavier Flippo with 4, 2 for Hayden Quinter, and 2 for Vince Porcher. So an interesting first half. The Raiders really, got into a little bit of a flow. That's what you want to see out of St. Henry, though. It's the biggest thing is they're lacking really a lot of flow this second quarter, or really that first half. They need to kind of implement this second half. And just had not a lot of flow offensively. It just seemed really scrambled. And no one other than Evan Bowers made a field goal that first half. So you got to find someone to rely on to really help your team offensively.
Yeah, the other 8 points, Bowers had those 9 points, and the other 8 coming from the charity stripe from 4 different players. And you got to think that guy's going to be Luke Bikey here in the second half. He had 23 last night in that game against Spencerville. They got to figure out a way to get him going.
Yeah, they got to find a way to help get a few others involved too. Just to find more other offensive weapons all over the court. And the Raiders' depth is showing here at times. They're not necessarily going to have a guy that's going to score 20, 25 points maybe very often for Russia, but their depth is definitely showing here tonight.
So Russia will start the second half with the same starters they had in the first half, and that is Shappy, Quinter, Monin, Flippo, and Cardania. We're going to start out this second half of play with an immediate foul on St. Henry.
Evan Bowers.
For the Redskins, they will start out with their same starters in Caden Bergman, Evan Bowers, Logan Link, Luke Bikey, and John Harding. So the ball is, as you said, the foul goes on Evan Bowers, his first one, and Russia's going to turn the ball over. So kind of sloppy play from both teams here to start out this second half. Inbounds from Bergman, trying to get it into Hardings. He does as Quinter chases him down the floor. And that ball picked out from behind by Zane Shappy, but thrown out of bounds underneath the St. Henry basket.
Good effort to try to track down that ball. Couldn't quite convert.
Bowers set to inbound underneath their own basket. Russia with the 30-17 lead, and a nice lob there to Bikey, trying to get him involved. He misses the shot. Bowers now going to shoot the 3. He hit one earlier. He hits another one. So Bowers, again, the only guy with a field goal, but a big 3 for St. Henry, who much needed a bucket coming out of this second half.
Much needed. Now it's the fact of just stringing a few of those possessions together.
And Monin's going to try his own 3. That's off the front of the iron. No good. Ball knocked around, and we're going to get a whistle and another foul. It's going to go on the Raiders. Coach Cardania asking for an explanation. Substitution now as Vince Borchers will come in for Zane Shappy.
Yeah, Shappy's got 3 fouls now. And St. Henry scored the last 5 points. It was a 15-point lead at once for the Raiders.
Harding with the ball, hands it off to Logan Link. Link working against Monin up the floor. Gets it out to Bergman. Bergman double teamed by both Borchers and Braden Monin. He finally gets it out to Hardings. Hardings' ball knocked out by Cardania, and Russia wanting an over and back call, as looks like Coach Rosenbeck asked for a quick timeout. We'll stay right here. Rosenbeck, I don't know if that timeout was meant to for any particular reason, or
I think he was thinking that they were going to call maybe an over and back delayed, so that's why I think he got the timeout in. It should have been an over back, miscalled there by the officials.
Well, smart coaching there by Rosenbeck, and that's what I was alluding to as Coach Cardania was about at the half court yelling at the officials for the over and back. Rosenbeck calls the quick timeout.
Yeah, and that's just to retain that possession because, like I said, St. Henry's trying to find an identity and try to find a flow. So they've held the Raiders scoreless in the early part of this first half. They've got a 3, so they're trying to, add to that. They're trying to cut into that deficit.
A 30-second timeout sponsored by Precision Strip. Our scoreboard by First National Bank. Think first. And of course, our Russia Live Viewer sponsor you see there on your screen is Jewelry Barn. So the inbounds from the Redskins as Link will bring it up against Monon. They trail by 10, trying to get back into this ball game. Trailed at the half 30-17. Got that three-pointer from Bowers to get the second half started. Bergman into the corner, down to Hardings, down the block now. Working his Bikey. Bikey trying to get his first field goal, and he does. So St. Henry with 5 points here to start out the second half, and the first field goal from Luke Bikey.
Yeah, and you mentioned his name as someone to get the team started and going.
And a nice move there by Braylon Cardonier as he goes up with a left hand against Bikey, and Bikey no sooner gets the bucket, gets a foul.
And the Raiders, one thing they need to do is take that ball stronger to the basket. They haven't really been finishing well. They kind of just been expecting the contact, expecting the foul call, which is fine. You want the foul call possibly, but you got to at least fight through that contact.
You would think St. Henry has football and Russia doesn't.
Yeah. You'd be right there.
Yeah, well, Cordonier makes the free throw. So Braylon Cordonier, who had 7 at the half, now has 8. And a nice rebound there from Quinter, and the ball goes out of bounds. Quinter asking for a foul, and the official says, I'll call those. I don't need your help. So Flippo inbounds it underhanded to Cordonier down the block, working against Bikey, trying to make a move off the glass, and that's no good. Ball knocked around, and finally John Hardings picks it up. The one senior on this St. Henry roster, as we said, just one senior, 10 juniors and a sophomore. Graduated all 5 seniors from last year's. Quinter's going to get called for the foul, and he's not happy about that as he tosses the ball away. He thought he should have got a foul called against him on the other side of the floor, and Coach Cordonier recognizes that he needs to take his junior out, replace him with Felix Francis.
Yeah, he tried to get a little happy there, and he wrapped that post player down. Harding's there. And that was a good foul call.
Francis with the ball on the fast break, and he's going to throw it up. A lot of contact, nothing called. Now has Harding's arm over his back, and finally they're going to whistle that foul. So Rushin now has Zane Shappy and Hayden Quinter, both with 3 fouls. We're only at the 6-minute mark here in the third quarter.
Yeah, but that's, like I said, that's where the Raider depth is going to come into play. Guys like Felix Francis, Vince Borchers, Ross Fissinger are really going to come in and play key for the Raiders. Colby Mon and those type of guys. That's where you get tested when those guys, your starters, are going to get in a little bit of foul trouble. But Felix Francis, nice game tonight, 11 points for him.
Yeah, he leads the Raiders in scoring as John Hardings will head to the bench. And in now is Curtis Putoff, the St. Henry quarterback on the football team, that is. And yeah, Felix Francis, who was held scoreless against Jackson Center last night.
Ooh, Cordonier left early.
And he's going to negate that free throw attempt by Francis. So the sophomore making a sophomore mistake. In the lane too early. St. Henry now with the ball. They trail yet by 10 as Bergman now has it, working against Borchers. Borchers a little full court pressure.
In St. Henry's quarter, they winning this quarter 7-2.
Bikey working now against Cordonier in the corner to Bowers. Bowers going to take a 3. He's got 2 of them. He's now got 3. Evan Bowers hits his third 3 of the game.
And like I said, it's just a little bit of a flow for St. Henry, and they've got it now.
He cuts that Russia lead to 7. Borchers within the lane. He's going to go up strong. That's no good. Rebound by Francis. That's going to rattle around no good. Gets his own board and puts it in. So Felix Francis answers Evan Bowers' three-pointer with a bucket of his own. He's going to try to get 3, finish it at the free throw line here at least.
Yeah, and it's just a nice way by Francis to stick with it and follow through. And it's third quarter. Like I said, been controlled by St. Henry, but the play of Felix Francis has been very good tonight. And the Raiders might have got away with a foul there.
Yeah, Braden Mon got his arm in there, and there was no call.
He tipped it right to Braylon Cordonier.
Fortunate for the Raiders as Braylon Cordonier are going to head to the free throw line. Of course, Braylon Cordonier, the son of Coach Spencer Cordonier. Spencer, a very good player for Russia back in the day. 1995 graduate. And substitution now as Bikey will head to the bench. And Back in for the Redskins will be Nick Berkey, a 6'2 junior.
I think what Raider fans remember Braylon Cardonier most of us is for that signature moment at the state finals where he's down on one knee ripping a triple to the wall, the right center gap that helped the Raiders win 10-4 over Lincoln View, win that state title back in June.
I certainly remember that. And St. Henry with a little trouble getting that ball up the floor. We're going to get a whistle and another foul as the official tells Coach Rosenbeck he doesn't want to hear it.
Yeah, I don't know what it's about, but he's getting him on the foul, and the fouls maybe. The foul discrepancy there is 5-3 now.
Well, that foul was on Braden Monin, so I don't know what Coach Rosenbeck was upset about. Bowers working with it on the block against Flippo, and a nice steal there by Braylon Cardonier as he tried to a cross-court pass, Bowers did. Russia with an 11-point lead here, 36-25.
And it looks like St. Henry's maybe dropping back in that zone. We'll see. Yep. And so, it mixed up those defenses. See how they move. Yep, they're moving back to zone.
Russia had a little trouble with that at times. As Cardonier's going to throw it up, that's going to rattle around and drop in. So Braylon Cardonier coming up big here in this third quarter. Got 3 from the free throw line here in the third quarter, 10 for the game. He's going to try to make it 12.
And that's exactly where you want to get the ball in the zone, is the middle of that key, is those soft, what's called the soft parts of the zone. When you have a zone, you're even more spread out than when playing man-to-man, and you want to hit the soft parts of those zones. In the middle of the key is one of those soft spots, and it was a nice job by Cardonier to make that shot.
Cardonier with the old-fashioned three-point play. He now has 6 in the quarter, 13 for the game. And the Redskins with it. Beckman now with the ball. He's going to kick it on out to Putoff. Putoff's going to drive baseline, stop by the Raiders. Back out to Beckman. Beckman trying to get it down to Berkey. And
it's a foul on Berkey. He wrapped up Francis, and we're going to use a football term, impeding his way to the ball.
So Rushi doing a nice job holding off these Redskins, and just when they cut it to single digits, Rushi expands that lead again. Rushi trying to win this rubber match, as we said earlier. St. Henry won the freshman game, Rushi the JV game, and Cardonier's going to get fouled by Berkey. St. Henry fans starting to get restless with all the whistles.
And the hands were clearly on there by Berkey. That's actually a pretty good foul call there by the official. Berkey just he was laying his hands on. You can have hands on for a little bit, but his hands were on him before he even had the ball. He was just holding on to him there. So good call there by the official.
So Braylon Cardonier seems like he's been living at this free throw line here in the third quarter. He's back there again, knocks it down. So Cardonier, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he's a perfect 5 for 5 from the free throw line this quarter.
And I think Stan Evans is here tonight, standing right in the doorway. Isn't that Stan Evans?
Yeah, I see him down there.
The Shelby County Athletic Commissioner here, watching some basketball on a Saturday night.
Our NKTelco viewers may be able to see him there on the right as Cardonier second attempts on the way, and that one's a little short.
And there's the announcer's jinx fish.
It happens every time.
That's why I wasn't saying anything.
Well, Rushi with a 15-point lead now here, 40-25, 4:20 left to play here in this third quarter. Working with it is Devin Delzeith, now back in the game. And he gets it to Bowers. Bowers with the ball, being guarded by Flippo. Kicks it on out to Link. Link's long three's on the way. That's no good. And tie up on the floor. We're going to get a jump ball. And these St. Henry Redskins, they can hit the three. They hit 4 of them last night in the fourth quarter. Kept that game somewhat close.
And like I said, it's the fact of stringing that consistency together. They had a little bit of it in the early part of this quarter, but haven't really had it since.
We got a precision strip timeout. We're going to stay right here, though, and recognize our cheerleaders tonight. And for the Rushi Raiders, those cheerleaders are Jillian Chapman, Abby Fisher, McKenna Hoyne, Gracie McLennan, Annalise Magato, Anna Meyer, Grace Monin, Mackenzie Rose, Emma Daypour, Alexandria Garkey, Ella Flippo, Camille Saunders, Abby Sherman, and Savannah Spradlin. The cheer advisor is Brandy Flippo. And cheerleaders for St. Henry are Lizzie Hewer, Anna Lange, Allie Brunswick, Audrey Gast, Allie Heath, Madison Brunswick, Shelby Lange, Lily Ontrop, Emily Bikey, Carly Bucklew, Rachel Flenner, Michaela Kramer, Reese Smockers, Kylie Albers, Kalani Brown, and Ava Cardonier. Their cheer advisor is Barb Gast.
It's nice of you to recognize this cheerleaders. Sometimes they don't really maybe get the recognition they deserve. They put in a lot of time, to kind of keep the spirit positive of what high school sports is supposed to be. I know you had a couple daughters that were cheerleaders. I had a sister that was a cheerleader, so I completely get it, and they deserve our full support. So
I recognize the alumni band that was here tonight. They did a very good job, but I just don't know who all those alumni were. And we're going to get another whistle.
Maybe a hands. I think that's one thing that Coach Rosenbeck had kind of been pleading from the officials is the Raiders are kind of having to struggle to match Evan Bauer's strengths. So they've been getting a little handsy with him. I think the St. Henry fans have been wanting them to call that hand check, so to speak, on Evan Bowers.
So Delzeeth gets the ball inbounds to Beckman, and Beckman's going to get fouled down on the block. He's going to head to the free throw line for just five. He was shooting, so he'll get 2.
There's been 14 fouls called, and we're not even halfway through the third quarter.
Yeah, it's been nonstop whistles here in the second half. So Hayden Beckman's at the free throw line. He did have a free throw back in the first quarter, just 1 point in the game, and he's going to miss that attempt.
Take it back, it says 13 according to the board.
Quick substitution as Coach Cordonier grabs Zane Shappy off the bench and asks him to replace Vince Borchers. So second attempt on the way here from Hayden Beckman, the 5'10 junior. That one's good. So Beckman now with 2 free throws and a couple points in the game. And a steal from Logan Link off the glass. Good. Nice bit of work there by Logan Link picking up his first points. That St. Henry pressure finally created a bucket for the Redskins. Cordonier now with the ball, gets it on top to Shappy. Shappy fakes the 3, picks up his dribble, gets it out to Fissinger. Fissinger in the lane, kicks it back out to Shappy. He's going to take a 3, and that's good. Zane Shappy, who had 5 in the first half, hits a 3-pointer here for the Raiders. That's their second 3 of the game.
Good ball movement. Nice pass from Fissinger to find the wide open Shappy. Looked good as soon as it left his hands.
That other 3 coming from Braylon Cordonier in that second quarter, and up and off the glass from Curtis Putoff. No good, but he'll head to the line, and another whistle. Raiders will pick up their 9th team foul, getting close to the double bonus for them.
And that's the thing. St. Henry's been drawing contact. It's kept it within striking distance. It's getting those foul shots.
That foul is going to go on Felix Francis, his second, and Putoff can't get the free throw to go down. Maybe that's only 18 fouls for Russia. That is the 8th team foul for Russia, the second on Francis, but in that second attempt from Putoff is good, so his first point of the game, that is. Russia with the 14-point lead. 3:18 to play here in the third quarter as Cordonier's going to drive baseline. He falls down on the floor with it, and it looks like Francis hit the baseline, so a Raider turnover.
Nice baseline defense there by St. Henry to cut off the Raiders. Dribble penetration lanes right there.
Substitution now as John Hardings will come in and Curtis Putoff will head to the bench for Coach Rosenbeck. Beckman now with it, being guarded by Fissinger. A little full court pressure. Fissinger trailing him and got a hand on him. He's going to get a whistle. Fissinger's going to pick up the foul.
A one-on-one opportunity there, and St. Henry's wanting this. Like I said, they've been calling that. They've been consistent with it. Fissinger had the hand on him going down the sideline. You got to keep it off there. If you have it on there for about more than a second, you got to get it off. They've been calling it.
Yeah, not a good foul for Russia. And at the free throw line again will be Hayden Beckman, who just converted 1 of 2 a few seconds ago. Or excuse me, that was Curtis Putoff that was there a little earlier, but Beckman's first attempt is no good, so 1-and-1 can't get anything out of it. And a lazy pass there from Zane Shappy, and we're going to get a foul on St. Henry this time.
Yeah, the Raiders brought that ball to the corner. They got to get it out in the open where they have more options to go out and pass. And they've got to be aggressive to push that ball up, use quick passes against this defense.
So yeah, team fouls right now for Russia, they have 7, and for St. Henry, they have 9. Their scoreboard numbers seem to be bouncing around up there, so see if they stay that way. As Francis, who's done very well at the free throw line tonight, gets another one to go down. He's actually knocked down 6 of his 14 points from there, actually 16 points. 15 points he's got, where I've got him at. So Russia with a 45-29 lead on the First National Bank Think First scoreboard. 2:52 left here to go in the third. Working with the ball now is Logan Link out front, being guarded by Braden Mon and trying to find someone to dish it to. He finally does. And Devin Delzeith. Delzeith being guarded, kicks it out to Link from the corner. His three's on the way, no good. Rebound by Shappy. He's going to get it up to Monin. Monin's going to head from the left side, off the glass and good. Braden Monin with a nice left-handed layup.
Yep. That was a great pass by Shappy to lead him into that motion, hit him in stride, didn't have to slow him down to lay it in.
And Braden Monin, who averaged 10 points a game last year, his first 2 of the night. He didn't get his first bucket last night until a three-pointer in the fourth quarter, and up and off the iron. A nice bucket there by
John Hardings.
Yeah, John Hardings, his first field goal.
Now we're having a little more of a flow this quarter since it's been a lot of fouls called. Like you said, 16 fouls called this quarter.
Fissinger's going to drive. His shot is blocked by Bowers. Link getting it out to Bergman. Bergman on top to Hardings. Hardings going to drive the lane. He's going to get bumped by Flippo. And Flippo says, I was turned the other direction. He said, he ran into my back and you're calling the foul on me? And I think Coach Cardonier's asking the same thing. Xavier Flippo was actually turned the other direction, and Hardings ran into him. Coach Cardonier feels like Flippo has a right to stand where he was.
Yeah, kind of an odd call there, and I think Spencer Cardonier has a case there, and he's still flabbergasted by that call. And
that's
so
how this quarter's been going for sure. We'll see hopefully the next quarter with a lot fewer whistles. At the line is John Hardings. Hardings' shot is too hard, and St. Henry not having much success there at the free throw line.
No, not at all.
Fortunate for Russia as Cardonier now has the ball, gets it out to Borchers on top to Flippo. Xavier Flippo, who throws that ball carelessly as a steal from Beckman. Beckman can't get the layup to go down. Ball knocked around out of bounds. Russia gets it once again. St. Henry not able to finish on their end of the court.
And just a few opportunities like that, and they've missed some open shots. This doesn't seem like it should be a 16-point game. Feels like it should be about a 5-point game. With the way they've played, they've left a lot of points out there on the court tonight.
Chris Berkey coming into the game for St. Henry in place of John Hardings, and another Raider turnover. See if St. Henry can capitalize as Link runs into Flippo, and I thought we were going to get a whistle and a foul again, but you're right, it's a walk on Link.
Yeah, his foot fell before he ran into him, and that caused the contact.
And we're going to get a precision strip timeout, a full one. We'll take it with him. Russia leads St. Henry 47-31 here on NKTelco Sports.
Together, we are family, working safely for our loved ones.
We are problem solvers who challenge the status quo and drive improvement.
We care about our customer relationships.
We stay true to our values, caring and respecting one another.
We embrace change as we journey through our career.
We are Precision Strip, the world's leading processor of rolled steel and aluminum.
Precision Strip, doing the exceptional.
At Wilson Health, we're extending care beyond the walls of the hospital, with resources designed to keep you in charge of your health.
Our independence and connection to the community are unique in a world where big healthcare strives to act like corporations.
Our tools may be the same, but we are different.
We're neighbors, friends, and family who truly care about the people who live here.
We call it caring without limits, and it's just the beginning of a whole new Wilson Health.
We'd like to thank some additional sponsors here tonight for bringing you this game, and that is Burke Petroleum, Chiltex LLC, Cy Sweeterman Inc., Dickman Supply, Hometown Opportunity, Hulsman Automotive, Park National Bank, SecureCom, and St. Henry Bank. Also want to remind our viewers to stick around until the end of the game tonight when Brandon and I will name our NKTelco Player of the Game. We'll have your final stats and your wrap-up. Stay tuned for all of that. Coming out of this precision strip timeout, it's going to be a Russia ball. They have a 16-point lead on our First National Bank Think First scoreboard.
Yeah, and this quarter, it's only been 1 point. The Raiders have outscored the Redskins, but a lot of fouls called this quarter, 17 of them. Make it 18 on cue. And it's gonna make it fish to a long fourth quarter with each whistle being blown, meaning it's gonna be foul shots unless it's offensive.
And you can tell by looking at both these crowds, makes it awful hard to get excited when both teams just keep walking to the other end of the floor to take free throws.
It's just taken out. It takes, and the officials are doing a great job. It just takes it out of the flow of the game. Is the biggest part. Is you can't really run sets consistently when it's whistle here, whistle there. That's the biggest part.
Xavier Flippo hits the first of 2 attempts. Flippo now with 5 points in the game. He had 4 at the half. His first score here of the second half. Xavier, a very good free throw shooter as he misses that second one. Shot 79% from the line last year. And what's this whistle on, Brandon?
Maybe blood? Yeah, there's blood on his leg. You can see down there, the trainer Brian Downs, who's coming from Covington High School tonight, actually, to assist tonight. So thanks to Brian for volunteering his time over here.
As Flippo gets treated on the bench, Felix Francis will come in for him. And St. Henry's going to lose control of this ball. Francis is going to pick it up. He gets pushed off the glass. No good, but he'll head to the free throw line. That foul is going to go on Nick Berkey.
And like I said, Francis has been living there tonight. It's gotta Raiders still need they've been getting fouled. They're finishing stronger at the rim. I think one point of emphasis that they're going to take away from tonight, they've kind of lacked. Felix getting cash money from that line.
He certainly has. And Francis, as we said several times tonight, was held scoreless last night in limited playing time. He now has 15. To make that 16.
And there's that announcer's jinx again.
So under a minute to play here in this third quarter. Russia with the 18-point lead, and another whistle and another foul.
19 now. I don't know. I mean, like I said, the officials are doing a great job being consistent. I don't know if I've ever been to a game where there's been 19 of them called in one quarter, though.
A lot of aggressive play from both teams as Vince Borchers will head to the bench. Onto the floor now comes Xavier Flippo at the line for the Redskins as Hayden Beckman. Beckman 2 points from the charity stripe tonight. The lefty's first shot rattles around the rim, or rolls around the rim and pops out. Flippo with the ball now and 40 seconds to go before we get this third quarter over with. And a double team from the Redskins, and this is how you pick up fouls when you apply pressure like this. He finally gets it out, and we're going to get whistled. Not sure if Beckman or Putoff's going to get that foul, but it goes to Putoff.
Now we're at the magic number 20, so I think the Raiders, too, with the way, the officiating's been, it's been whistle happy. I think you go in the fourth quarter, just pretty much running basic offense. You're probably going to see pressure from St. Henry, but you just run basic offense just to, move and maybe see if you can get fouled and wait till you get a good open shot. But just work on moving and cutting this fourth quarter.
On the style of defense St. Henry plays is just so aggressive with that full court press and that trap defense. As Flippo splits the pair at that trip to the free throw line, you're going to get a lot of fouls. But Russia now leading 50-31 on the First National Bank Think First scoreboard. Beckman with the ball, gets into the corner to Chris Berkey. Chris Berkey picks up his dribble, finally gets it down low. Putoff working against Quinter. Nice shot off the board, no good. Ball goes out of bounds to Russia.
And Russia has 6.6 seconds to run something here to try to get something right before the horn. Raiders leading 50-31. They've controlled this quarter scoring-wise, 20-16.
I believe this is Russia's largest lead of the night. As Francis now with the ball and 3 seconds to go, he throws it up off the iron, no good. Tip back by Flippo is no good. So after 3 quarters of play, Russia leads St. Henry 50-31. We'll be back in a moment here on NKTelco Sports.
CarriageWorks has expanded and now can hold up to 25 cars in our service bay. CarriageWorks thrives on customer satisfaction. We accomplish that by providing top-of-the-line technology. CarriageWorks now uses a laser beam system to measure down to the millimeter of factory specs to better service you and get you back on the road. CarriageWorks has a brand new top-of-the-line paint booth that uses waterborne paint. There's no job too big or too small for CarriageWorks. We're certified collision specialists. Come in and see us today.
Kemmler Orthopedic Center is focused on a personalized, caring approach to treat all aspects of orthopedics, including total joint replacement, shoulder reconstruction, stem cell injections, and more. Dr. James Kemmler and Jed Cooney, certified PA, are dedicated to providing the best orthopedic care in the Grand Lake region. Kemmler Orthopedic Center has offices located in Salina and Van Wert, along with extended evening hours. To schedule an appointment, call our office at 419-586-5760.
And if you're around for the start of the game tonight, you heard our keys to the game, courtesy of Keyhole Pizza, as well as our starting lineups. They came to you from Emerson Copeland. Again, stick around for the end of the game. My name's Craig Fissinger, and this is Brandon Coburn. We're going to have all your stats and your wrap-up after this final quarter, as well as our NKTelco player of the game. And Kobe, I think we're together when we're glad that third quarter's over.
Yeah, and 20 fouls called in that quarter in total. Again, thanks to St. Henry, the stat team as they're feeding the stats. 20 fouls that quarter. Raiders shooting 44% going this fourth quarter. The Redskins shooting 30%, also shooting 30% from three. The Raiders shooting 78%. The Raiders shot 23 foul shots. The Redskins have shot 21. The Raiders 78% line, which is remarkable. Redskins 57%. Again, I think what you're going to see the Raiders do here is run a lot of just offense just to move that ball with the lead and with the way the foul situation's been tonight with how the refs have been calling it.
And a steal by the Redskins as Logan Link with the ball gets it over to Hardings. Hardings working against Colby Monin back in the ball game for Russia. And he puts it up over Mon. That ball rolls around the rim, no good. Nice defense by Colby Mon. Stick back by Bowers. He gets the bucket, and Bowers leads this team with 15 points. Logan Link now with it. No good, and going to get a foul on Zane Shappy. I believe that's going to be his fourth foul.
Yeah, and the Raiders, too. It's one thing I said, you can run offense here, but can't get lazy. That's going to go against St. Henry, actually, on the positioning against Link. But, you can't be too lazy with the basketball. You got to take care of it here. St. Henry's desperation is going to increase a little, but you got to take care of the basketball.
So the foul was not on Zane Shappy. It was on number 2, but it was on number 2 for St. Henry, and that's Devin Delzeith. Shappy's first attempt is no good. And correction on Evan Bauer's score. I said he had 15. He actually has 17 to lead all scorers here tonight so far. Second one on the way from Shappy on the front of the rim, back of the rim, and it drops in. So Zane Shappy splits the pair. He now has 9 points for the Raiders after having just 2 last night. And shot by Hardings is no good. Delzeith with the rebound, kicks it on out to Link. Back to Delzeith. He thinks about a 3, drives against Monin. And down low to Nick Berkey. Nick Berkey, nice spin move in the lane, and Nick Berkey gets the bucket.
Yeah, nice turnaround there for Berkey, making it 51-35 as St. Henry cuts the deficit.
6'2 junior gets his first points there, and Nick Berkey, Rushy with the ball.
See Francis be content here. He's burn some clock, get a wide open shot.
Cardonier in the middle of the lane puts it up, and Braylon Cardonier from 7 feet does a nice job getting that one to go down.
He's got 16 points now. Kind of a quiet 16 points, really.
Yeah, Cardonier was just 6 last night, and up and off the glass is John Hardings. Hardings now with 5 in the game. As you said, Brandon, Rushy just needs to kill some clock here. Coach Cardonier is going to get a precision strip timeout as Coach Rosenbeck thought maybe that ball was being bobbled when the timeout was called.
He has a good argument being made. I don't think the Raiders had possession there. I think Coach Rosenbeck has a good argument there.
Well, we'll stay right here during this timeout as the coaches talk to the officials about it. It's just a 30-second timeout.
And Raider assistant coach Brad Francis used to be an assistant actually at St. Henry under Brad Francis there for the 2015-16 season a while back.
Of course, a longtime assistant coach here at Russia as well. He was part of that 2002 run to the state final game where Russia fell to Delphi St. John, another MAC foe. Not a team that they play a whole lot, but met up with them in the state finals there in 2002 and had a lead much of that game. Ended up forfeiting that in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, do not have any memory of that game. I was only 2 years old at that time, so.
Well, these Redskins certainly have some state championship banners hanging in their gym. 2004, 1991, 1990, and 1979. Didn't get the one in 2019 with Coach Rosenbach, But again, 4 state titles for them.
I remember being at the Trent Arena, called that regional final game, actually.
And some contact there as Quinter doesn't get his first shot to go down, but he gets the second one to go. And Hayden Quinter awfully strong under the bucket. 4 points for him in the game.
Have an offensive free-for-all so far here in the fourth quarter.
Quinter led scores, or tied for the leading scorer last night with 11 points, just 4 tonight. And that shot, I believe that was John Hardings that got that bucket?
Yes, I think so.
Hardings now with 7 in the game for him. Russia with a 55-39 lead as Cardoniner's going to pull up. No, he's going to try to get it to Francis. Cardoniner should have just took that shot. Instead, tried to get it to Felix Francis.
Colby Mon and try to get the ball right back. That's the thing right there. Stop. Braylon Cardoniner's hit a few shots in that spot right there. He could have just took a high percentage chance at the bucket.
Sometimes you can be a little bit too unselfish.
Yeah. And take it right there, especially a player as talented as Braylon Cardoniner that's tied for the team high in 16 points.
And Logan Link at the free throw line where St. Henry hasn't shot real well. What were they going into this fourth quarter?
57% going in the fourth quarter.
Substitutions for Russia now as Colby Monin and Braylon Cardonier head to the bench. On the floor for the Raiders now as Hayden Quinter, Zane Shappy, Braden Monin, Xavier Flippo, and Felix Francis. Logan Link trying to knock down this second one, and he does get that one to go down.
So Logan,
Logan Link with 3 points all here in the second half. Cuts that Russia lead to 16 points.
These guys have been playing a lot, Fish, but you know one thing is this will be the last matchup between these two teams in this gymnasium.
Exactly right. Russia, of course, a new gym coming in 2024 as Felix Francis, doing what he's been doing all night.
Yeah, so by the time, these guys play again in 2024 at Russia, it'll be as Hayden Quinter gets the layup.
Well, Hayden Quinter threw down a couple thunderous dunks last season. I think he was thinking about on that one, but got a little defense. A nice move there by John Hardings, who's all of a sudden come alive here in this fourth quarter with 6 points in the quarter alone. He now has 9 for the game.
The whistles have kind of gone away, and it's been a lot of fast break, pretty much offense here for both teams this fourth quarter.
And Quinter tried to go up hard that time, got knocked to the floor, but Russia retains possession. Flippo with it in the corner on top to Shappy. Shappy with the ball working against Caden Bergman. Cross-court pass to Mon and on top to Francis. 4.5 minutes left to go here in this fourth quarter, and Coach Cardonier just content to work some clock.
Yep, I would be too. You can get this, I would say you can get this inside 4 minutes probably if you want. Just keep running, moving the offense, moving cut. Good job by the Raiders.
Yeah. And a long three from Shappy, and maybe not the shot that Coach wanted, but ball knocked around. I think Russia's going to head to the charity stripe again.
Yeah, and that's probably not the best shot that the Raiders could have got there. They had some opportunity to get some even better, more high percentage shots. And Shappy does have 9 points tonight, but Francis yet again going to go to the line. And we talked about guys that needed to kind of step up from that game last night against Jackson Center. You mentioned Felix Francis Fish at the top of the broadcast, and he's certainly been a player that stepped up and played very well tonight, showed his potential, especially too. One thing you can't teach is size. He grew 3-4 inches over the summer from what he was, last season, which is a huge help for the Raiders because really he can play that wing or post position.
Well, Francis is going to try to get his 20th point of this game.
Short.
That's a little short, perhaps maybe getting a little tired, but Russia with an 18-point lead at the 4-minute mark here in this ball game. And Logan Link with a walk.
Yep.
The turnover, St. Henry. St. Henry going to have their first league match or conference matchup coming up next Friday as they travel to Versailles, I believe.
That'll be a good matchup early on. Versailles has got a lot of size, especially with Connor Stonebreaker over there. Be a big test for them.
Russia with the ball. Shappy now working with it down in the corner. Gets it down on the block to Quinter. Nice pass to Flippo. Nice ball movement there by the Raiders.
Beautiful ball movement there. The Raiders now have there's a flow to this fourth quarter, which I think has helped both teams here offensively. Has been a lot of fouls called, but been a lot of transition buckets.
Bowers working with it against Flippo. Bowers a fadeaway. That's a tough shot, and he knocks it down. Boy, what a tough basket for Evan Bowers.
Oh, it's probably the most beautiful shot I've seen all night. Nice shot by Bowers.
Russia with the ball and the 18-point lead. A nice jumper from the baseline. Well, Francis can't get that to go down short like his free throw. And again, maybe perhaps getting a little tired. And drive to the bucket by the St. Henry is no good. So the 3-minute mark, Russia now with the ball. Shappy's going to go off the glass, and Zane Shappy gets another field goal.
Shappy's got 11 points now tonight.
So Russia expands that lead back to 20 points. Bikey, who had that 23-point game last night, he goes up and gets fouled. So far tonight, Bikey just 6 points.
I'm sure when the Raiders had their walkthrough this morning, I'm sure they talked about it, their walkthrough, their shoot-around. I'm sure they talked about how Bikey had 23 points. I'm sure they had coaches scouting at the game last night, and they keyed in on him, and it was 23 points. I'm sure Coach Spencer Cardonier and Coach Brad Francis took a look at that and said, we got to shut this guy down, and they did a pretty good job tonight compared to what he did last night.
And that game that St. Henry's going to play against Versailles is actually at St. Henry, so the Redskins will host after being on the road this weekend. And then for the Russia Raiders, they have games on Friday at Fairlawn and on Saturday at Minster.
That Minster game on Saturday you can catch on NKTelco Sports. You can catch the Raiders play at Minster. So again, just kind of like this weekend, you play a Shelby County opponent on Friday, a MAC opponent on Saturday. Any team, if you're from the Shelby County or MAC, are going to be battle tested. The Raiders basically kind of do play sort of a MAC schedule. You play St. Henry, Versailles, Minster, Marion. And the MAC doesn't have a double round robin, so it's kind of like a MAC schedule in a way. So.
And Ross Fissinger, who's now in the bowl game, gets the layup after driving down the lane. Fissinger had 3 last night. He has his first 2 of the night.
And a nice take by Fissinger to the basket. Had one of those threes in that big run for the Raiders last night against Jackson Center.
Yeah, that huge fourth quarter for the Raiders. Had 3 threes in the quarter. Braden Mon and Xavier Flippo and Ross Fissinger came out big, and we're going to get an offensive foul this time on the Redskins. I believe that's the first offensive foul of the game.
They're just going to start to empty their bench. Benjamin York coming in. We're number 23, and he had 23 points tonight in that JV contest. He's been mighty impressive so far in 2 games.
Yeah, he's a guy I expect to see more and more here on the varsity, and maybe just coming in here at the end is another junior varsity player, and Jackson Grosjean, who had 13 in that game, is in as well. Felix Francis calling it a night, as is Braylon Cordiner, Zane Shappy, Hayden Quinter, Flippo, all the starters on the bench. And just a minute 55 to go here in the game, so Russia going to have a good weekend here, 2 wins.
It's 2 big wins to start the season for the Raiders. You start with a big, you probably wanted last night more than you wanted tonight, but tonight's just even adds, the cherry on top to this weekend. Probably a little, makes it a little better from what the Buckeyes did earlier today.
And a lot of St. Henry fans, they're Ohio State fans as well. A lot of alumni going to the Ohio State University, and perhaps that's why they're a little quiet.
Guy I heard
on
the radio call today, Jim Lachey, St. Henry alum. And, too, I know, Craig, you're a big Flyers fan, and we know some recent St. Henry alums have played at UD. Kurt Hulsman, Ryan Mikesell, just to name a few.
A lot of good athletes to come out of that town, that's for sure. And a floater there from Devin Delzeith is no good, as Curtis Putoff will corral it on the Raiders side of the court. Down low is Chris Berkey, and his shot is up and no good. And a stick back from Dominic Swartz, who's now in the game, is no good, but he's going to head to the free throw line. Dominic Swartz, a 5'11 junior, seeing his first playing time of the night, I believe.
Yeah, played in that JV contest earlier. Played a little bit at the beginning. I think they were maybe saving his quarters.
1 minute to go on the First National Bank Think First scoreboard. Russia with a 21-point lead. Cut that back down to 20 after Dominic Swartz hits the first of 2 attempts. I want to say hello to my mom and dad tonight, Brandon. They're listening down in Jensen Beach, Florida.
Ooh, that sounds a lot better than Ohio. Even though the weather was not bad today, not too bad. I'm sure it's a lot nicer there than what it is here.
And we're going to get another foul before we end this ball game.
You got guys that got fouls to give after 20 of them in the third quarter. Yes, if you haven't tuned in, 20 fouls called in the third quarter between both teams. I don't know if I've ever been in a game where I've seen 20 fouls called in an 8-minute span.
And Swartz is going to miss the front end here. He split the pair last time at the charity stripe. Try to get this second one to go down. And he does convert that one. So Dominic Swartz with 2 points. Rushy with the ball, and Jackson Grosjean will bring it up.
And give you an update on some football for any of you any of you football fans out there. St. Henry was up 20-0. Last I checked toward the end of the third quarter. They're only up 7-0 at the halftime break.
That's Marion Local or New Bremen?
Marion Local is up 27-0 now with 5:44 to go in the fourth. So it looks like they'll be advancing to yet another state final, playing in Canton next week, probably against the Kirtland Hornets.
25 seconds to go here in the game. Rushy content just to run out the clock as they rotate the ball. And again, Rushy going to wrap up this weekend with a 2-0 record. St. Henry going to fall to 0-2 after 2 tough matchups against Spencerville and Rushy. And the final seconds will tick off the First National Bank scoreboard. Stay right here. Kobe and I are going to thank our sponsors and then wrap up with your final stats as well as your NKTelco player of the game. So again, Rushy with the 66-47 win. And again, this game is brought to you tonight by these fine sponsors, and they are Keyhole Pizza, First National Bank, Precision Strip, Emerson Copeland, Carriage Works, Grand Lake Health, Kogi Plumbing and Heating, Lincoln Electric Automation, Minster Bank, Pratt Industries, New Knoxville Supply, Wagner's IGA, Wilson Health, Winners Meats, Jewelry Barn, and NKTelco. Our keys to the game were brought to you by Keyhole Pizza. The scoreboard sponsor was First National Bank. Timeouts came from Precision Strip. Our starting lineup from Emerson Copeland. The Rushy Live Viewer sponsor was Jewelry Barn. And the player of the game coming to you in a moment is from NKTelco. Also want to thank our additional sponsors, and those are Burke Petroleum, Chiltex LLC, Cy Sweeterman Inc., Dickman Supply, Hometown Opportunity, Hulsman Automotive, Park National Bank, SecureCom, and St. Henry Bank. And Brandon, what do our stats look like here as we wrap up?
Taking a look here first for the St. Henry Redskins, 14-39 from the field, 35%, 3 of 11 from beyond the arc for 27%. There were 16-29 from the charity stripe, 55%, 27 rebounds in total for the Rushy Raiders. And just to let you know, too, there's 44 fouls called in this game, so half those fouls were called in that third quarter, by the way. Rushy, 66 points. They shot 22 of 45 from the field, 48%. They were only 2 of 9 from beyond the arc, 22%. They shot very well from the charity stripe, 74%, 20 of 27, and out-rebounded the Redskins by getting 33 rebounds. The individual scoring took for St. Henry. They were led by Evan Bowers with 19 points, 9 from John Harding, 7 from Luke Bikey, 3 from Logan Link, 2 from Dominic Schwartz and Caden Bergman, also 2 for Hayden Beckman and Nick Berkey, and 1 for Devin Delzai. Looking on the flip side for the Raiders, they were led in scoring by Felix Francis with 19 points, 16 points from Braylon Cardonier, 11 from Zane Chappie, so 3 in double figures for the Raiders, 8 for Xavier Flippo. There was 6 for Hayden Quinter, 2 apiece for Ross Sissinger and Braden Monin, and also Vince Borchers as well.
All right, Covey, and so that brings us to our NKTelco player of the game, and I have a pretty good guess who you're going to call it, but I'll leave it up to you.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Felix Francis here. 5 of 10 from the field. He had 9 points in the charity stripe tonight. He had a double-double tonight. 19 points, 12 rebounds, and 4 steals as well. So a double-double for Felix here tonight. Like you said, Fish, you mentioned him at the top of the broadcast. He must have been listening to our broadcast. Is talking about a guy that needed, maybe to answer the bell or to step up. And he answered in a big way. You start this season off, you look right away, you're like Jackson Center and St. Henry, that's 2 big tests to start the season. You're going to find out how good this Raider team is after 2 games. And in Fish, they answered the bell. They're 2-0. They get a quality league win and a quality non-league win that'll make a lot of people look around and say, oh, the Rushy Raiders are for real. And they started off very well. And they got 6 days off, but they come back and they play Fairlawn, a game they're probably going to be heavily favored in, but they play the Minster Wildcats next weekend, so some more tests on the docket coming up for the Raiders. For St. Henry, this is a team, not a lot of varsity experience, but you can see they left some points out on the floor, but you can see the potential with this team, and they've got a lot of potential going forward. this season, and they play in a tough conference. So you know they're going to be challenged.
Yeah, they have had two tough road games at Spencerville and at Russia. Finally, they get 2 home games. Again, that game on Friday night against Versailles, and then on Saturday versus Shawnee. So St. Henry looking to get back on track next week. Do want to say thanks before we close tonight to the stats and film crew from St. Henry. Done a wonderful job taking care of us here tonight.
Yeah, they did. And they make my life easier because the stats I have are just a rough guess, and you get into the game action, so you don't know if you're right or whatever. So just want to thank them for what they did here tonight. They do a fantastic job, and that's the thing with high school sports. There's a lot of people that don't get thanks that do stuff behind the scenes, and they're one of them.
All right, well, that will officially wrap it up for us here tonight. For a final time, Russia defeats St. Henry 66-47. We hope you enjoyed NKTelco's broadcast of high school boys basketball. Thanks for tuning in. And from Claire C. Nouveau Gymnasium, I'm Craig Fissinger. For my broadcast partner, Brandon Koberman, saying good night, everyone.